All right.
All right.
So, yeah, there we go. No Peter, no Chad. Haven't heard from either one of them yet this morning, so they may show up.
They'll be here.
Yeah, or they could be. I changed the link for these uh, on the back end, or just leave it at reasons, and they may have the other link. I don't know, but anyway, big news. I've got a call. I don't know what time today. I got a call with Chris again. Oh, there's Peter.
Hey, Peter.
But he doesn't have sound. He doesn't have sound. Always a joy, Peter. Always a
No,
There you
joy.
it's
go.
whenever I log on my camera. But it's weird. In my agenda or on my calendar, I have a different link. And I thought I
I,
updated the link.
what did I just say? What did I just before you came on? I said there's no Peter and there's no chat. I bet they have the old link.
I didn't know there was a new link.
Well, you just go to the school page and click on the link
Yep.
there. And that
Yep.
so
My
um,
calendar pops up and I click it and I'm like, this is weird. No call, nobody here. That's wrong. I can't be right.
that's okay. You're here now. So as I started to say when he showed up and had no sound, um, I've got a call with Chris again today from Rad this afternoon. He wants to do a little prep, get to know you guys better via me. So I'll only
Sorry to
say
hear
nice
that.
th- I'll only say nice things about everybody except for Al. I'll tell
Of
the truth
course.
about Al. No. He's coming on next week. He's supposed to get a little idea of who we are, what we do here on these calls. And I said, well, I put these calls online and anybody can watch them. So at least the first half of them. So he should be here next week is what we're shooting for. So something
I
pops up
saw
on your skip.
the post from Taj, or sorry, T. No, I can't remember his name.
Teach.
Tej, where he said he spoke to some industry expert, which turns out to be Paul Spear, because I saw Paul. I follow him on LinkedIn, and he said something like, "Oh yeah, I'm on a call later today with Red," but they're talking about how we're basically not always understanding what we need to deliver or the accuracy we need to deliver. So they want to kind of come up with a way to make sure that everybody does the right thing.
That was one of the things that we talked about on the call that I was on last night. And the this particular conversation goes all the way back to February. Um, when I was having lunch with Jason Sansucci. Um, we were talking about standardization in the industry, and that's something that we need to do. There was a conversation yesterday. Jason had posted something on LinkedIn, which I want to talk about LinkedIn a little bit today because I've gotten some questions from people in the school that don't show up for these calls, but we have phone calls at least once a week. Uh, but Jason had made this long post about is the industry saturated? I don't know if y'all saw that
Yeah,
I did.
yesterday. Um, he and I had a little bit of a conversation in the middle of it, and he asked, is education the answer? And I said, I don't believe that it is. I mean, I don't think it's the end all be all because there are colleges out there now that are running drone programs and teaching and providing certificates and all that fun stuff, but it doesn't prepare them for actually being out in the world. Um,
No.
and my comment to Jason is like I don't think it's the end all be all, but it's a start. But I think it's also important that pilots get plugged into these networks. You have a network, I have a network. I think people need to get plugged into these so that they can learn from other people. One of the things that I don't talk about enough is the need for the ability to problem solve. It's something that we have to be able to do on the fly. We have to be good at problem solving in the field, because problems do arise. The day that I crashed my drone, I wasn't very good at problem solving, so um, my attitude got the better of me there. But that's something that you can't. They can't teach you in school. You can't teach it over a phone call. That's something that you have to develop. I mean, we can talk about the problems that we've had and share our solutions and whatnot, but when you're in the field, and I'll use an example that I ran into, was it June of, I want to say 23. I was doing a job way up north, northwest of Fort Morgan, and I had absolutely zero service. So I had no ability to look anything up. I had nothing. I didn't have the almighty YouTube University. I didn't have anything. And problem was is my drone was not taking off. Okay, it wouldn't. I had dead sticks. I had nothing. But after several reboots and restarts, whatever the problem was, I've not encountered it again. But it was just one of those things that I was getting frustrated, and I said, you know what, one more time, I'll do this. I shut everything down. I walked away, came back, fired everything up, and the drone decided that it was gonna play nice with my system. So I don't know whether I'd missed an update or something. I have no idea what it was, but it was one of those things that I had almost given up, which would not have served me very well. But it's, there's a book out there called and I can't remember the name of the author, but it's called "The Obstacle Is the Way." And I think he's talking about Marcus Aurelius, who always saw the problem as an opportunity. The problem is an opportunity to solve it, which gives you the ability to learn and grow in that moment. Because if you just turn your back on the problem, it's not going to go away. It's not going to fix itself. So the obstacle is the way. I mean, you just have to keep going. You just have to keep pushing through. So, but that was the point of my statement, is that you need to get plugged into these groups, these networks, and have work with other people that have been there, done that, so that they can, help you along the way. They can't. Al, you've experienced this. You've been on the fire hose of my ramblings, but and I'm sure you learned a lot. But I'm also sure that there's things that you've missed, because I'll just go and I'm on to the next thing, because this is, I won't say it's second nature for me, but it would be like Jeff telling me how to fly a plane. He could talk me through it, but unless I'm sitting there doing it, I still don't think I could. I mean, yes, physically, and I know how everything works, but the startup procedure for a Lear is much different than it is for a Robinson R22 Beta. I've got experience with an R22 Beta. I do not have experience with a Learjet. So, who popped in?
Mateo.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Morning, Mateo.
Good morning.
Mateo.
I'm here. I'm on the job site, so I'll probably have y'all muted for a while, but it's pretty loud
It's all right.
here. Good morning.
It's all right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time for us this morning. We're just talking about problem solving, and I think that's something that you can't teach in school. It has to be learned through experience.
You got to live that one.
Yeah, you have to live that one. And the other thing that Jason said in that article was that it's not saturated, it's noisy. And that was, that's where I jumped in and commented, it is the noise. That's the problem. And there is so much noise out there that a lot of these guys coming up now, hell, me included, because I'm still not there, but have problems getting through the noise, and they give up before they get through to the other side. So they have that breakthrough moment, and they get through to the other side, and it just comes back to the obstacle is the way. You have to keep going.
That's it.
So, but that's my rant on that this morning. I said I was going to talk about LinkedIn, and while we're here, let's just get on that. So I got questioned. I've been asked this question a couple times. What is my? I don't have a quote unquote LinkedIn strategy, but what I find works for me is that you find for me in this area is you've got the construction companies out there in the Denver metro area that I would like to work with. So I follow all of them. I jump in their comments. I comment on what they're talking about and try to add value to whatever. They see me. I know that they see me because I see that they viewed my profile. So they know who I am.
Yep.
After a little bit of this, I may do an outreach to them, and I've been fortunate enough to get a client just through that. It's not a cold call at that point. They already kind of know who you are. You've added value. You've taken the time. You've got to know who they are and what problems they may have just by following them on LinkedIn, and then just keep jumping in the comments, keep doing that, and then when you feel the time is right, just send them a DM. Because, like you said, you're not making a cold call at that point.
Yeah.
None of us likes to make cold calls. I don't know. There may be two guys on this call that are okay with cold calls.
We have
They're both
done it.
laughing
Doesn't
right
mean
now.
we're okay with it.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're better at it than I am. I don't. I get those DMs from I won't say third world countries, but places that I don't ever want to visit, with people trying to sell me something or finance. It's like, dude, just stop. Just stop. Yeah. So I don't even bother with them. But just the fact that you've been in their comments, and you've had a conversation with them in their comments, maybe not. But they kind of know who you are at that point. So you're not making that cold call, and then you can start that conversation up and go down that rabbit hole with them and see if you can provide value to them, find out what the problems are. When I make that initial contact, even in the comments, I very rarely talk about drones. I very rarely talk about what I do, because a lot of people, as soon as we say, "Hey, I've got a drone," they just clicked off to whatever you were going to tell them. Most people have no idea what an ortho is. Most people don't know what an LAZ file is. All those things that we deal in. But we need to be cognizant of that fact and listen to what they're saying and find out what their pain points are and see how we can fix that. Not fix it. Because we're men. Our mission in life is to fix things, and that irritates our better half sometimes, because all we want to do is fix the problem, and they don't want us to fix the problem.
You need to learn to listen.
Yeah, but they just want us to listen. So I'm still working on that, but.
And sometimes say, honey, I really want to fix this, but I know you just want to talk to me.
Yeah.
I'll be quiet.
Yeah. So
I ask mine, do you want me to listen or do you want a solution? And it's always listen.
yeah. So, but anyway, that's my rant for this morning.
One of the
Cage thing and LinkedIn, and go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, from a LinkedIn perspective, like when you just said don't talk drones. So I've had another 2 networking events yesterday. So one, I got invited or recruited, as I think a better word, for a local business network, which is kind of like a leads group that Chad also does. So I went to the first meeting there yesterday morning. It was interesting. You have a certain cadence throughout the month. And this week was where everybody presents a spreadsheet of, these are my top 3 prospects I'm working on, right? These are my strategies, or these are my strategic partners. These are people that I know that I can leverage. And basically people in the room is like, oh, I know that guy. I know somebody who works for that company, right? So it's kind of like helping each other all out. It was very interesting. Yeah, I'm pretty certain I'm going to become a member too, because there are several people in the room that could be direct customers for me, right? And I think there's a lot of people there that could be an in-between. Talked to a guy who's got a marketing company. He said, oh yeah, we have some customers with really bad drone footage. And I'm like, well, I hope I can do better, right? but and then I had my regular Route 40 happy hour last night, where I met a bunch of people. But I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, I say I'm still something to say I have a drone company. I provide aerial data. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, aerial data can be used in a lot of ways. It can be, video to promote your business, an event, a place, or it can be more of like a mapping overview, right? How big is this property? Where does everything go? Where can I put this? Where can I put that? And because like I said, drones is not really, people don't really, I don't know, like they don't really understand or click.
They're toys.
And so, but I'm still kind of perfecting that story because I feel that I don't have it down yet where in one sentence it becomes clear what I do. Because on the other hand, I'm also then within the next 2-3 sentences try to loop in the fact that I can make interior models, right? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, it could be a virtual tour. If wherever we are, I said, do you want to know what this space is sized like? I said, I can take images and I can give you a 2D or basically a 3D CAD drawing that tells you exactly what this space is, and you can use it in different ways, right? So, and from a LinkedIn perspective, Chad, as you see, Chad is following a very specific strategy. He, like, every day he posts something, and my goal last week was to do it 3 times a week, which worked last week, but not this week. I haven't posted once yet. It's Thursday. For 2 days, I'm like, oh, what I wanted to do was I have 10 weeks of data on one of the projects and just over project the ortho mosaics on top of each other, right? Where you see the changes happening. I'm like, that would be a cool thing to do. And I just haven't gotten around to it this week yet. But I think just post, just show some jobs you're doing, just show them. It's amazing. As soon as you do it, all of a sudden people start connecting to you. And you're like, who is this guy? Is the word being connected to him? Oh yeah, wait, he works for a drone service provider. He works for a building company. When you post, check your analytics, because your analytics show what industries or people are looking at you. Well,
Right.
I'm still about 20 to 30% of my former colleagues, right, from my former company. Because I literally see medical industry, company name Electa. Yeah, these are all former colleagues of mine, right? But I start seeing a shift towards construction and other drone-related industries or companies. And I'm sorry, just something popped in my mind. I put in a proposal with the local county last week. Their economic development department wants to highlight things, right? Where they want to stimulate people coming into a shopping center or showing that, hey, we're going to improve something, some tourism, some agriculture. And when I mentioned to them in a conversation that, one, I can do aerial footage, but if you say, hey, we have a piece of property here, how big is this? Or what can we do it? Or we have a shopping center, I said, I can also make maps where you can subtract data out of it, right? You can use it in different ways. And I ran into the lady yesterday at the happy hour, and she said, yeah, we're slow, but we were actually talking about you today and the fact that you can also do mapping that clearly distinguishes you from any of the other drone pilots we talked to, because they're all photographers. And I'm like, So I like economic development, chamber of commerce, those kind of things. And then think about you, little Jeff, in a sense, being close to Hagerstown, which is a reasonably sized town, right? So it might be links, it might be ways of connecting to people. But I thought it was interesting when she said, yeah, you stand out because you can also do mapping. None of the other ones can do that. And I said, because I told them, said, hey, if you want me to come into the office and kind of present to people what this mapping means, let me know. She's like, yeah, we're thinking about that. I said, well, point me to a property somewhere. I'll make a map so that when I come to present to you, I can actually show something that is of interest to you, right?
And extract the data ahead of time so that
and then say, hey, here are some things you can do with this. It's kind of like I don't know. It's like you go to a gun store and they say, here, try it, and you have the thing in your hand and you're like, ooh. The moment you grab it, it's like it adds something to the sales process, right? And it's kind of like, okay, just show them what it would be like if they had it, right?
Yeah, that's helped me with here, because I've got one superintendent that's completely bought in, and I had him talk to another superintendent, and it's like, yeah, if you could find that hero out there that'll open doors for you, that's an amazing position to be in. Step back, Peter, weren't you and I already connected on LinkedIn?
I was very surprised when I got the request, and it said, oh, you're now a connection. And I'm like, huh? were we not a connection before yet?
Yeah, that's, I was confused about that. And Jeff, do you have two profiles?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I found the old one then, didn't I?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
I sent
All
you
right.
a new one to the new one.
okay. Yeah, because I was like, I think this is Jeff. I don't know. And then you had jumped in and made a comment or liked something somewhere, and the icon was different. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, oh, whatever. So, but no, LinkedIn's a good place to hang out. You meet interesting people there. You see what they're doing. Yeah. So,
You have the pro account, Michael?
excuse me.
Yeah.
So I do occasionally have a pro account. Occasionally, when they offer me the 50% off for 2 months, I'll go ahead and take that deal. And then, in fact, I'm currently on it, which I think it ends next week, if not sooner. Second month of it. So it's nice. I enjoy being able to see exactly who has looked at my profile as opposed to somebody from
Right.
X company. But
How much is it?
it's like $64 a month.
Stupid
And
expensive.
Too much.
yeah, I can't justify that. 34 or 30, whatever I'm paying right now for the 2 months. I'm like, yeah, I'll jump in there, run it for 2 months, don't set up the auto renew or turn off the auto renew, and then wait for another offer to come down the road a little later, which they always do. So,
Right.
By the way, small update on Birdie. They now have the ability to share a link directly to contacts, where they previously you had to register somebody, and with every account you could have somebody register. So the person you register can do editing on the map. Everybody gets the share link, can view it, right? They can't change anything, but they
it's just-
just added that in.
so the people that sign up for an account have the ability to edit and do line drawings on there. Okay.
Yeah, they added a couple new things to it. I read the March release note, so there were a couple things that have been resolved and fixed, and they added the share link. It's currently beta. I have to double check one thing with it, but I use it on one of my jobs that I'm showing the builder, right? I'm showing this whole team basically what can we do, and I asked the superintendent yesterday because I flew it yesterday. He's like, "Hey, did the link work? Did you show it?" He's like, "Yeah, I saw it. It was great." I'm like, "Okay, good. It works." Right. So it's just weekly drips on them to show what we can do. When I was flying yesterday, all of a sudden this police helicopter comes out, and it's
Oh man, I
about
hate those damn things.
500 feet away from me. Right. And I just finished a map. I was ready to let it do the progression images. And I'm like, in one of the corners of the property, I was maybe 300 feet away from the helicopter. So I kind of paused it. I'm like, I'll let it hang down. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on. I brought it back down. And then it flew, 5 minutes later, it flew off and I continued. But I'm like, I was curious if the pilot saw my drone or not. I don't know.
Yeah, I've had a couple times. Once was a CH-47. Kind of heard that one coming.
Mhm.
Kind of hard to miss those. And it's like, where in the hell's he at? And I turn around, look, it's like, oh crap, he's right there. And I dropped the drone to the deck. And then the other one was a police helicopter. Just came out of nowhere when I was up in Westminster. It's like, holy crap! It's like, it's they're flying low, and you don't hear them until it's almost too late. And then if you're not paying attention, it potentially could be too late. And then we're reading about you on the news. So.
But have you already seen it? I've had it now a couple times where I will get an alert, airplane nearby, and I zoom out and I see the plane like a mile and a half, and it shows altitude and speed and direction, right? So it picks up the ADS-B, I think, or somehow it's got to be ADS-B, Jeff, that it picks up because it gives me
yeah, that's what it's picking up on the controller.
It is ADS-B.
There is a way. Ask me in
3 minutes.
In 3 minutes, and I'll finish that statement. Yeah, because I do work around airports. I mean, and I'm not in a zero grid a lot of time, but I am in Class D airspace, and it just drives me nuts Like it's every 30 seconds. It's like, yeah, there's a runway right there. There's planes taking off. I know. Especially like when I'm flying to church. We are directly south of 36L and 36R at DIA. So it's a constant barrage of jets either coming in or taking off, depending on which way the wind's blowing. Yeah, it's annoying. So
And you got the Front Range Airport too, right next to you.
yeah,
To that.
I've got that job coming up that's right at the end of the runway for that one. So, but yeah,
I just found out that there's a big high voltage power line project here in the Northeast that they're trying to do for the AI data centers. And a lot of farmers are going to have things running through their property. But now we just found out that they're going to put 175 feet tall metal towers, 4,000 feet off the center of the runway, Jeff, right at their airport. So people are like, what? You're crazy? 4,000 feet. That's for a lot of people. You know how a lot of people make long finals, right? So like, they're going to put a high voltage. That's the plan, at least. We're trying to protest, but
yeah. So our church is, like I said, it's directly south of 36, and they limited the height that we could build our church to 100 feet. We are a couple miles south.
yeah,
A couple
cool.
miles, and it's like we couldn't go another 50 feet. I guess not, but yeah, that was the limiting factor for our bell tower at the church, was the fact that we're south of the DIA's main runways. So that's just that far away. I mean, how long you can't. No, there's no final that you're going to do that steeple is going to be, that bell tower is going to be in your way.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
yeah. So
You got bigger problems.
yeah, you have bigger problems. You came up way short on your final, way short. So, but watching the time go here.
So
What else,
Jeff,
guys?
I haven't started implementing the course correction on my maps yet. I downloaded all the software. I just gotta, find a video how to use Emlet Studio, how to pour in the data and then apply it to it. I just gotta find it. I haven't had the time.
I
to
wanted
do
to
so.
mention to you, Peter.
Sorry?
I said I wanted to mention to you. I'm not sure, you can touch base with me later, but next week, I don't know what your schedule looks like,
Mm-hmm.
but I will.
He's going to be on a call next Thursday morning.
That's right. But touch base with me, and if you can come up a day, let me know. We'll coordinate.
Yeah, it's really not that hard
Right.
to do working
No.
in Emlet Studio. It's relatively straightforward. You just need to have the right files.
Yep.
Yeah, and I watched the video from, what is it, Drone Mapping Tools guy, because I knew I had seen something there, but he basically uses the PKK part of it. I watched another video. I'm like, I just want one specifically for Emlet Studio, so I will try to basically do that and have a good understanding of what I need to do. So when we meet, it becomes a very kind of like focused, right?
Yeah,
So
and that particular video that you saw, Peter, it's not outdated, but Emlet Studio was a beta product at that point. So there's some things that have changed since that video has been released.
Yeah.
And I don't
Some
think he's
in there look a little different now.
yeah. So
I'll find a more up to date one. I'm basically doing 3 courses at the moment that I'm really trying to focus on. One, I'm trying to get through the advanced course that I had bought last year summer with DLA. We bought it as a beta course, but the full course came out now. And it's like 6 parts. The first part is geodesy, which that guy David Doyle, he's just fantastic. He explains things so well. I wish they would offer where you can just buy a specific part. Maybe we should tell that to buy only geodesy part or something. And just some really good information in there. I'm really trying to. I felt that Romney's post last week about, hey, we're gonna link things you get as part of the course to what you have achieved in the course, right? Kind of like he's up leveling because